Lads, welcome back to Fusion YGO. It is your boy Christian, the Hever Card Man again, and holy cow, Konami is just rolling out the new support cards like crazy. This time around, we're looking at some Earthbound Immortal stuff. Not an archetype that I expected to get any support anytime soon, but I don't know. These cards are looking pretty interesting, so let's go ahead and get into these and see what things are looking like here. So we're going to start things off with Earthbound Prisoner Groundkeeper. Excuse me. This is a level 1 Dark Fiend Tuner effect monster, attack 300 and defense 300. Already a lot of different things with that. I mean, being a level 1 Dark Fiend Tuner, there's a lot of potential with that already. Thankfully, its attack is 300, so it's not a periodized target, but this is already a 1-for-1 target. This can be a Where Art Thou target. Just being a level 1 tuner is pretty good all around. Being a dark and having the fiend typing, neither of those are bad things. If this card is normals or special summoned, you can special summon one level 5 or lower Earthbound monster from your deck or graveyard, except itself, or Earthbound Spirit. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Fusion and Synchro monsters. This does come into play later. I've gotten a little peek at these cards. But this effect, overall, not too bad. Getting locked into Fusion and Synchro isn't too bad, considering this is a 5Ds era card. So this is something that plays around almost exclusively Synchros, and then can have Fusion splashed in here and there. Overall, not a bad effect. Earthbound monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects while there is a card in the field zone except Earthbound Spirit. So getting protection is pretty nice. You're hardly ever going to actually leave this on the field, though, so that's interesting, except for Earthbound Spirit, so that one doesn't count. But I guess it does mean that this itself would be protected, so your other Earthbounds can stay alive alongside it. I just think it's probably better to use this for what it's intended for, as a tuner, but we'll get into that. Next up is going to be the Earthbound Prisoner Stone Sweeper, a level 5 Dark Fiend effect monster with 1600 attack and defense. So you can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. So hard once per turn on both effects. If there's a card in the field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. So super easy, just special summon out a level 5. You just have a level 5 Dark Fiend on board. That's not bad. Second effect, you can discard this card, add one level 3 or lower Fiend Tuner from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Fusion and Synchro monsters. So you have the same restriction as the last one if you use the discard effect. But give me just a second. I want to go over the stuff that this can actually add, because it just says level 3 or lower Fiend Tuner from your deck. There is a lot that this can actually search outside of just the other card that we have up here, other than just this Prisoner Guardkeeper. So look out for this. Being a generic searcher, yes, it does lock you into Fusion and Synchro monsters, but if you're searching for a tuner and you just plan on doing Synchro plays anyways, then it really doesn't matter. And also just being able to freely special this from the hand if you have a field spell is not bad. If your deck plays field spells religiously and you just want a level 5 body to put on field for whatever reason, good card, very strong card. So far, not really synergizing that well with Earthbounds, though. These are seeming like slightly more generic cards that just impose a moderate restriction. Next up here is Earthbound Prisoner Linewalker, a level 3 Dark Fiend Tuner effect, so another search target off of our Prisoner Stone Sweeper up here. 800 attack, 1100 defense. Okay, so his stats don't match. That's kind of interesting, but that's something. You can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. 1, if this card is normal or special summoned, add an Earthbound Prison or Harmonic Synchro Fusion. Okay, so Harmonic Synchro Fusion I think comes up later. Earthbound Prison from your deck or graveyard. Okay, so Earthbound Prison must be another card coming up, I'm assuming. If you control level 6 or higher Earthbound monster, except Earthbound Spirit, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one opponent's effect monster, special summon from the extra deck, shuffle it into the deck, then your opponent can special summon one monster with the same name from their extra deck. Being able to special out a name, or like a monster with the same name from their extra deck, sometimes doesn't matter if they're not able to, like, say if it's one that must be fusion summoned, or like, you know, something like that where it must be fusion, synchro, exceed, or whatever, or in the case where it needs to be summoned properly to get any of its effects. This isn't terrible. I mean, it just trades even for removal, but there are things that this effect can do. Overall, not the greatest. Your biggest thing is this first effect to be able to search here. So we'll see how good this Earthbound Prison and Harmonic Synchro Fusion are here soon, I'm pretty sure. If they're any good, then this card is instantly, like, solid. All right, so first fusion here, we have Earthbound Servant Geokraken. Level 8 Dark Fiend Fusion, attack 28, defense 1200. Okay, that's not terrible stats for a level 8. Being a level 8 is very huge, by the way. Yeah, the level 8 is just great. Materials are 2 Earthbound monsters except Earthbound Spirit. Okay, so they really hate this Earthbound Spirit. I think it's like not an actual Earthbound card. I'll have to look into that later. You can only use both of its effects name of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 field spell from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Okay. Well, you see, the problem is here now we're already looking at a card that people... I hate to be the bearer of bad news on this one. People are going to find a way to break this card. Anything that just says add a field spell from your deck and then adding the or graveyard as a cherry on top from to your hand, that is already the sign that people are going to find a way to abuse this card. Yes, it requires 2 Earthbound monsters as material, but for this effect, it only requires it to be special summoned, not fusion summoned. So you can very easily find ways to cheat this guy out of the extra deck just to add a field spell from your deck to your hand. I'm curious to see how people are going to find ways to break this and abuse it, but I definitely see this happening. There might even be times where people just use the 2 Earthbound monsters. They might have like a cheeky way around it. We'll see. This is an interesting card right off the bat, though. 2, if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck, you can destroy as many of their monsters special summoned this turn as possible. And if you do, inflict 800 damage to them for each monster destroyed by this effect. Another solid removal effect. It unfortunately does destroy, but it doesn't target. The other big hindrance of it is that it only affects monsters that are special summoned this turn. So this would be something you'd want to be able to quick fusion on your opponent's turn to get that. Oh, no, it's just when a monster special from their extra deck. Okay, so no, you just end with this on your field, and then you can blow up their whole board if you get the right timing, as long as you do it before they're going to negate on field. Solid card all around. This is actually a really, like I said, this is something that I feel people are going to find a way to break. I don't necessarily see it seeing a lot of play in actual Earthbound decks, but this card is just nuts. Wow. Okay, next fusion here is Earthbound Servant Geograsha Labolas. Dub Earthbound Servant Geograsha. Okay, sure. It's a level 10 Dark Fiend fusion. Okay, level 10, also not bad. 3,000 attack. Okay, pretty okay stats. Defense 1,800. That's whatever. Materials are 1 Earthbound fusion monster plus 1 Earthbound synchro monster. So basically, this guy, and then I think we get an Earthbound synchro. So, all right. Oh yeah, there's a synchro down there. Okay, spoiled a little bit. Must be fusion summons. This is like one of those cards where that bounce effect from earlier would matter. If you bounce something like this back, you wouldn't be able to special summon this back out from the extra deck. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. Sure. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster, change that monster's attack defense to 0. So this is a Gate Guardian basically. Not once per turn though. This effect is not a once per turn effect. Interesting. Okay, so basically you just get to do 3k damage directly to your opponent. If they attack into it not realizing that effect, they're hurting themselves. 2, if an opponent's monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy all cards they control. Okay, wow. Free board wipe, anyone? You literally, like, this can turn a Fisher into a full board wipe. That's insane. Wow. Okay, that's pretty solid removal. Definitely something a boss monster like this likes to see. You do have to have something get destroyed first, but it doesn't specify that it has to be by your card effect. So if your opponent does anything to destroy their own cards, you just get to blow up everything. That's nice. 3, if this face-up card leaves the field by your opponent, you can special summon 1 Earthbound monster from your deck or extra deck, except Earthbound Spirit. That's not a once per turn effect either. Oh my god, these cards, dude, I'm reading this text and I'm silently losing my mind right now. Why are these guys getting such good support? Okay, so like the materials on this does make it a little bit more restrictive due to the fact that it must be fusion summoned, but I think the upcoming cards kind of fix that a little bit. So let's take a look. Next up, we have our Synchro monster, a level 6 Earthbound Servant Geo Gremlin. We have our Gremlin. Sorry, the Gremlin is here. Oh my god. Level 6 Dark Fiend Synchro effect monster, 2,000 attack, 1,000 defense, requiring 1 Dark Tuner and 1 non-tuner monsters. So mostly generic level 6 Synchro. Let's see how busted this is. So you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Your opponent chooses one of these effects for you to apply. Destroy that monster or gain life points equal to that monster's attack. It's 99% of the time it's going to be gaining the life points unless they're worried about losing in time, in which case they're going to be forced to destroy the monster. Very mediocre effect since your opponent chooses. During the second effect, during the battle phase, quick effect, you can fusion summon one Earthbound fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials mentioned on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard. So they have an on-field miracle fusion, but it only goes off during the battle phase. So you'd kind of want to hope that you're going second to be able to get this off. That's okay, I guess. This one's definitely more mediocre. Okay, Earthbound Servant Geogriffin, our second Synchro monster here, level 8 Dark Fiend Synchro effect monster, 2500 attack, 1500 defense, requiring one Dark Tuner, one or more non-tuner monsters. Okay, so once again, mostly generic. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First effect, quick effect, you can special summon one Earthbound monster from your grave in defense position except Geogriffin or Earthbound Spirit. Okay, also you can special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except fusion and synchro monsters. So same restriction we've been seeing before. That's totally fine. If this card is destroyed by your opponent, you can destroy one card on the field, then inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each Earthbound monster with the different names you control enter in your graveyard except Earthbound Spirit. So basically this deck, like these cards so far, looks like they're just trying to win in time, doing a little bit of burn damage here and there. Nothing too crazy. I mean, this just like these two just being mostly generic monsters makes it easier to get this guy out. That's like that's the biggest thing about them. And of course the level 6 is able to fuse for you. So that is something. Okay, first spell card. This is a field spell here, Earthbound Prison. When this card is activated, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls. This card gains this effect, negate that monster's effects. Okay, so you could have worded that way easier, but sure. So a field spell, when it's activated, you get to negate a monster's effects. That's cool. During your that's actually really interesting for a field spell. I might have to talk about that one later. During your main phase, you can normal summon one Earthbound monster in addition to your normal summoner set, except Earthbound Spirit. You can only get this effect once per turn. So extra normal for the deck. That is actually pretty solid for this. I know that Earthbound has a lot of big monsters, but with these new cards, getting extra normal summons for your little guys is actually really nice. If this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and you have an Earthbound monster on your field and in your graveyard, have your opponent's life points, and if you do, negate the effects of all face-up cards they currently control until the end of this turn. All right, so we have a normal spell here, Synchro Fusion, Otherworldly Harmonic Synchro Fusion. Okay, so this is the one that we were looking for earlier on this guy, I believe. Yeah, Earthbound Prison Harmonic. Okay, so it adds either the field spell or this Synchro Fusion card. All right, let's go and read this Synchro Fusion here. You can activate one card with this card's name once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters in the extra deck the turn you activate this card except Fusion and Synchro, so that's a full turn lock, whatever. Send two face-up monsters you control to the graveyard, one tuner or one non-tuner. Special summon one Fusion monster, one Synchro monster from your extra deck that can be Fusion and Synchro summoned using only the sent monsters in the graveyard as material. So obviously this is meant to be for these guys up here. It's meant to be so that you can summon out your Geokraken and either your Geogremlin or Geogriffin off of just sending two guys to the graveyard. So it's still a -1 in card advantage, but what it allows you to do from there is where you can really start popping off. That's the intended purpose for it. I can see people messing around with ways to make this work. There are several cases where you can use a tuner and a non-tuner to make either a fusion or a synchro. So I think the application of being able to do both is kind of like interesting. It's definitely a bit more niche, but actually this could almost be something that could be seen in branded. I think there's like niche applications where branded could use this. This is another card I'm gonna have to look into a bit more, but seems interesting. Okay, and then we just get reprints of all the Earthbound stuff here. Not bad. These cards are insane. 100% this Geokraken is gonna get broken by somebody just for the fact that they can add a field spell, and then on top of that can just destroy a bunch of special summon monsters and do some burn damage. Like, this card is no joke. Keep an eye out for this, guys. When this card releases, I'd fully expect this to see some kind of play, somebody to figure out a way to cheat this out and do some serious stuff with it. So that is all I got for you guys today for this news video. But man, Konami is rolling out the cards this week. So if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh news in the future. We're also doing a bunch of deck profiles, combo tutorials, all that good stuff here on the channel. Be sure to check out the rest of our videos if you haven't already. And until next time, lads, remember, good fun. Have luck.